We are going to learn another method on how to factor these questions when we have a leading coefficient and we cannot pull out a GCF. So this is called divide and slide. Really, we slide, divide, and then slide again. But this is on your note sheet. So our first step here is to slide our leading coefficient, that first number, which is 5, and we need to multiply it by our constant term, by our third term, and then we need to remove it. So we take this 5, the leading coefficient, and we're going to multiply it by this third term here, just like we would with the box method, but then we need to remove that 5 from the x squared term. So we have x squared minus x minus, and we're doing 5 times 4, and that's where we get the 20. So now, just like before, we can guess and check or use our t-chart. We're looking for numbers that multiply or are factors of negative 20 and combine or add to make negative 1. So go ahead and find what those two numbers are. So I know that one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So if I make it a positive 4 and a negative 5, when we add those, we get negative 1. So x minus 5 and x plus 4. And remember, the order doesn't matter here. But these aren't our final answers. We have to keep going. So here's what we need to do. We need to divide my constant term, the negative 5 and the positive 4, in each set of parentheses, or in each factor, by that original leading coefficient that we slid in the beginning, that's out in front of the x squared. So that was the number 5. So this is how we write it. We need to take the negative 5 and the positive 4, and we're dividing them both by 5. Okay, but we don't like fractions, so the next step is to reduce each of these fractions if possible. So I know that negative 5 divided by 5 becomes negative 1. But 4 divided by 5 does not reduce or simplify, so we're just going to leave it alone for right now. Okay. So there's the dividing part of the name. And then the sliding part is that we need to take this remaining denominator, this 5, and slide it in front of the x. So our final answer would be x minus 1 and 5x plus 4. Now, I can use the box method or distributive property, which is FOIL, to check my work. So first, outside, inside, last. Combine my like terms, my middle x terms. And if I look back up to the top of my notes or my paper, this is the answer that we started with. So we know that we solved this correctly. That x minus 1 and 5x plus 4 are our answers here. Okay, so this question is also on your note sheet. So let's walk through this together. We're going to take this 7 and we're going to multiply it by the negative 4 and remove it. So x squared plus 3x minus 7 times 4 is 28. So now you're going to factor this new expression, multiply to get negative 28, add to get a positive 3. So see what numbers you can come up with. Again, I know that one has to be negative and one has to be positive. So if we make it negative 4 and positive 7, we get that positive 3 that we're looking for. So let's write both of these out. X minus 4, x plus 7. These aren't our answers yet. Remember, we have to divide by the leading coefficient that we slid in the beginning, so that would be 7. Simplify if possible. So 4 divided by 7 doesn't reduce, but 7 divided by 7 is 1. So then we take this and we slide it directly in front. 7x minus 4, x plus 1. And remember, you can get 100% on your homework or an assessment if you go back through and check your work. So FOIL, distribute, or use the box method to check your work. These are not on our notes, but we're going to go through another series of questions here, so you can write them down wherever you have room. But I also would like you to pause the video and to try these on your own first. Multiply 5 times 12. Remember, we are looking for numbers that multiply to get 60 and add to get 19. So use your factor chart, multiplication table. Both of them need to be positive, and we get y plus 4 and y plus 15. Then remember, we are dividing by that leading coefficient that we slid in the beginning. So we're dividing both of these by 5. Reduce if possible. And then we're taking what doesn't reduce that denominator and we're sliding it in front of the y. So my answers here would be 5y plus 4 and then y plus 3. All right, pause the video and try this one. Both of my factors are going to be negative. based on my signs here. And it would be a -2 and a -18 because those multiply to get +36 and combine to make -20. Y minus 2, y minus 18, and we're dividing by 12. So I want you to pause, take the time, reduce both of these fractions and see what you can come up with. So if you're trying to use your phone calculator, it's probably not going to be helpful. So remember about downloading the free app for a TI-84, where you can reduce these fractions in your head. Take the 6, take the 2, and slide them out in front. 6x minus 1, 2x minus 3. And this seems a little weird because we haven't done one like this, so I'm going to check my work just in case. Combine my like terms. And this is what we started with up in the beginning, so we know that we're correct. All right, pause and try this one. Multiply to get -30, add to get 13. One has to be negative and one has to be positive. So it's going to be x minus 2, x plus 15. A lot of us want to use 3 and 10 for this question, but we have to be careful with that, especially while paying attention to our signs. Divide by that leading coefficient that we slid in the beginning. Reduce. And then slide this back in front. Three x minus 2 and x plus 5 are going to be our answers. And again, to ensure that you're doing these questions right, you can always check your work. Next question. All right, practice doing this one on your own. Both of these factors have to be negative. Divide by that leading coefficient from the beginning. Reduce if possible. And take this and slide it out in front. So 5x minus 3x plus 1. And one more for you. Go ahead and try this one on your own. X minus 2 and x plus 7 are going to combine to make that positive 5 term. They also multiply to get negative 14. Divide by that leading coefficient. Reduce if possible. Slide this back in front. So x minus 1 and 2x plus 7.